It's very, very windy outside, Lisa.
With very big waves.
Yes. It's so windy and so wavy that they won't even let us go outside on the mid-decks.
And they drained all the water out of the pools.
Yeah, so we can't go swimming today.
That's a bummer.
This is very disappointing.
Yeah, it's a day at sea. That's what you're supposed to do at a day at sea.
It's our last day at sea, too.
Yeah,
and
last
we
day
are
on the boat.
Yeah, and we're stuck relatively inside for the most part. Wanted to do our podcast underneath the sun and the sky, but that's not going to happen.
No.
So we are inside where we can actually hear ourselves talking. I'm Deacon Dave.
And Layperson Lisa.
Welcome to the Deacon Dave and Layperson Lisa show. Welcome back, everybody. We are on to the last decade almost.
Oh, we are. You're right.
Well, technically we have to finish 140, and then there'll be 10 more left.
All right.
So I'm going to turn it over to Lisa.
What progress we're making.
Yes.
A Psalm of David. O Lord, I have cried out to you. Hear me. Attend to my voice when I cry out to you. Let my prayer be guided like incense in your sight, the lifting up of my hands like the evening sacrifice. O Lord, station a guard over my mouth and a door enclosing my lips. Do not turn aside my heart to words of malice, to making excuses for sins with men who work iniquity, and I will not communicate, even with the best of them. The just one will correct me with mercy, and he will rebuke me. But do not allow the oil of the sinner to fatten my head, for my prayer will still be toward their goodwill. Their judges have been engulfed, joining to the rocks. They will hear my words, which have prevailed. As when the lava of the earth has erupted above ground, our bones have been scattered beside hell. For Lord, O Lord, my eyes look to you. In you I have hoped. Do not take away my soul. Protect me from the snare that they have set up for me, and from the scandals of those who work iniquity. The sinners will fall into his net. I am alone until I pass over.
Wow.
What do you think?
Well, the part that there's a couple of things that stood out to me. The first one is to, Lord, station a guard over my mouth and a door enclosing my lips. And I immediately thought that sometimes I need to keep my mouth shut and know when to stop talking.
We talked about that earlier, the switch. You have no switch.
Yeah, I have no switch for knowing when to shut up. Just ask my wife. And sometimes I just want to continue on, and the more prudent thing to do is to allow the Lord to put a guard over my mouth and a door to shut my lips down so that I don't speak. And just sometimes all that's required is silence and time in order for the Lord to work, and not everything has to be talked out 100,000 times, because usually at 2 or 3 out of that 100,000, it's probably lost its fruitfulness at that point, right? So why keep going on? And then the other thing that jumped out at me first was incense.
Oh yeah.
You know how we both love incense, right? And so I immediately thought of adoration, and then it talked about lifting our hands up, like the evening sacrifice. So this whole idea of incense and our prayers being rising up to heaven. What about you, Lisa?
No, nice. Yeah, no, that incense thing jumped out at me as well. But what also did was the just one will correct me with mercy, and he will rebuke me, because I feel like that's what you did to me.
What are you talking about, Lisa?
No, I mean rightly so. So
okay.
That just reminded me of that.
Did I use mercy?
Yes, I think so.
Did I rebuke you?
Well, rebuke is a strong word. I think it was more gentle.
So Dave will correct you with mercy
gently rebuke me.
Gently. Is there any such thing as gently rebuking someone?
Gently correct. How's
Lisa,
that? Gently correct.
Gently correct. No, but I think it's important too, if we're going to talk about that, right? Fraternal correction is important.
Sure.
Inside of our Christian spirituality, that we hold one another accountable. And often in Curcio, this is exactly one of the things that gets confused, right? When the Christianity in action, people always go to it's acts of service.
I fed the poor and
right.
Yeah.
That's not even apostolic action, right? Apostolic action is bringing someone to Jesus, and then Christianity in action is actually holding someone accountable.
Right.
That's actually one of the spiritual works of mercy, to teach the
Oh,
ignorant,
yes.
right? To rebuke
Yes.
the sinner, or
Yes.
something along that
Yeah,
line.
rebuke the ignorant. Or instruct the ignorant.
And then there's something about
Rebuke-
correcting.
Yeah, something, yeah.
It's a strong word, rebuke again.
Yeah.
But those are actually spiritual works of mercy, and the reason that we often don't do those is because they're very uncomfortable.
Yes.
Right. But it's like I told my son the other day. He's got a new grandchild, and he says, "Well, I want to
Wait,
be."
your son has
I'm
a
sorry,
new
I have a new grandchild. My son has a new son. Thank you for the correction. See, there's fraternal correction in action there,
Wait a
folks.
second.
That's not even fraternal correction, but it's grammatical correction. But he said he wants to be his friend. And I said, well, you're his dad. And then later on that day, I thought, well, actually, a dad is probably a son's best friend, because he will authentically hold him accountable, speak the truth to him, and have an expectation that he live out a good life. I said, that's being a friend. Being a friend is not like letting people do what they want to do, or making them happy, or not telling them the hard things that they need to hear.
Yeah.
And if they're truly your friend, they're going to hang around.
Right.
Right? They're not going to just go, oh, fine, I'm not going to be your friend anymore.
Yeah.
Well, they were probably never your friend in the first place.
Yeah.
So any other thoughts on this one, Lisa?
No.
All right, well, that's it for Psalm 140. We're going to move on to the last 10 Psalms. I'm Deacon Dave.
I'm layperson Lisa. Ahoy.
Ahoy. Just waiting for her to say that.